how challenging is this sort of quarterback carousel been over the last month?
It is what it is. In the words of my grandfather, like it is what it is. It's everything's a challenge, right? It doesn't matter what we're doing, but we have a mentality that's next man up. We're preparing multiple guys to play. We're preparing 4 guys to play right now. And I was impressed with the young guys today at practice. We've got a lot of growth to do in that room. We'll see where we get to with a health standpoint by the time we hit Saturday. But it's certainly a challenge getting that many guys ready to play, right? There's only so many reps in practice, but I don't view it as a challenge in a negative way, but in a positive way. Guys get opportunities, and we can kind of be able to shape a game plan around what people's strengths are and have multiple versions of that and see where we get by Saturday.
Do you take some solace in the fact that, Schlee's first start against Syracuse played pretty well in that one. Schlee goes down against Duke, and Pop comes in, plays pretty well. Those guys don't miss too much of a beat by going in there and getting the first real action?
I don't know if I find solace in it. That's the expectation, right? And they expect that from themselves. Before we would expect that from them as a coaching staff, I think they expect that from themselves. And they would both tell you, whatever anybody's saying, that things look well or didn't or whatever, that the goal is to win the game, and we didn't play enough to win the game. Didn't play well enough to win the game. But I'm certainly proud of the guys for staying ready and the moment not being too big when you step in. But that's what they expected themselves, and certainly we do as well.
With Schlee, at least he had some starting experience
previously.
Right. Watson, this was basically his first real action in the game. How do you feel like he did in that Duke game?
There's a lot of things to clean up. The moment's not too big for Pop, that's for sure. And that's never been the case. Pop's got great confidence. He's got good field awareness. Those are the things that attracted us to him. And coming out of high school, he's been coached well. Father's a high school coach from a really good program up in Massachusetts. So that part of it, I thought would translate. There's a lot of small things that maybe just from our standpoint as a coaching staff or in that quarterback room, there's a lot of things we've got to clean up from a decision-making standpoint. They know that, I know that, we know that, and that'll give us a better chance to win.
Does that show up? You can see it pretty clearly in the 7 sacks and maybe
Amen.
protections and things.
Amen. It's not, and yeah, exactly. It's not just, I think sack, we talked a lot about this in our unit meeting on Sunday, right? A lot of times a sack, immediately people think of the offensive line, right? Where we probably view it a lot different as a unit and as a coaching staff, right? It takes 11 people are involved with a sack. Sometimes it's clear, right? Hey, someone gets beat in protection, right? But it takes multiple things to go right to make sure that we have the correct time and depth and spacing in the pass game, to make sure that when there is a problem, we steer the protection the right way, right? To make sure at times plays break down. When we talk about the first play breaking down, we talk about starting the second play, right? We've got to be able to get to that second play faster. Those create scramble opportunities. And then at times you're going to scramble, and it's okay to fight another down, right? It's okay. We talk a lot in the quarterback room about rule of 0, right? Sometimes at the worst, if we get the ball back to the line of scrimmage and with a 0-yard gain, we don't go backwards, but we keep the ball, life's good. We can play the next down. And I thought there were some instances in that where we could have got the ball out of our hands faster. We could have got rid of the ball, a couple protection things, both from a quarterback standpoint, turning the protection, also up front where we can be better, and in the back end, being able to show up on time and create separation. So I think you said it, but it's something we talked a lot about on Sunday, as a variety of things that go into a multi-sack game like that, which certainly it doesn't help momentum in the game, and it doesn't lead to winning.
Do you look at that sequence right before halftime where rule of 0 really would have played out?
Amen. That sequence there, learning opportunity for him. You were down well in the field goal range. Had an opportunity at a screen to dirt it when you look back at it. And then we knew they were going to heat up 0. Probably, with a young guy, maybe a little bit more what we would call house 0 blitz in that situation. And we got to be aware of that, and at worst, just get the ball out of our hands so we're not going backwards. That was a crucial moment in the game for sure.
Brent said that it was a good game for Pop because he hadn't played much. What did you take away from seeing him in the extensive action?
Yeah, just what we were talking about, it was just what I was saying to Andy. I think the first thing you want to know with a quarterback, and there's no way to, unfortunately, there's not a lot of ways to replicate it in practice because they're normally not live. So I think seeing him in live action, you got to think he's played sparingly here and there a lot of it being mop-up time last year, a little bit this year. To see him in live action when the game's on the line and you're in the flow of the game and you've got the full game plan at your disposal and you're playing quarterback, I thought it was good to see him and his confidence right in that. I didn't think the moment was too big. And then I think now you go down from that. That's a big piece of it. You don't find that out about a quarterback until you get in the game. Then the next piece of it is, okay, well, where is our process in the decision making and making sure that that stays true in the game? And I think those were some of the things that certainly we've got to be a lot better to play winning football on offense at the quarterback position.
From a play caller, like Schley started Syracuse, there were a lot of deception, a lot of reversals. Pop came in, it seemed like the same thing. How confident are you in being that creative with them and getting teams looking one way, looking the other, and misdirection, all that stuff, and probably in the process getting the guys comfortable with that side?
Well, I think when it makes sense, we always want to have an element of deception in the game plan. I think if you ask any defensive coach, and obviously working for a defensive head coach, I think that's something that's been ingrained for a long time. There is an element of slowing the defense down, right? Even if they're not completely successful, think of it as like a counterplay to what you're doing. We do a good bit of perimeter things in the run game, so being able to complement that, slow down the defense, I certainly think it has that effect. And then at times it has an effect to create momentum for the team. There are things that we're going to have in every week, and it's just a matter, is the defense giving us the right looks to call those in the game? I wouldn't say that it necessarily is predicated on what quarterback's in the game, if that makes sense.
What do you see about Dobby so far?
Man, fast. He's really improved the speed. Davi's very conscientious, good decision maker, still coming along in a lot of ways. He's a young guy, but Davi puts in the work. He's prepared. He's prepared like a starter all year. We have the quarterbacks go through. If you're not not the top two guys, there's a lot of time invested in that position during the week. Way more, and above and beyond what the normal required hours are in meetings and things like that. And what Davi's done, what we have those young quarterbacks do, they do scouting reports every week on the opponent to really keep them in the game, to teach them how to watch film. Both myself and Coach Chris, I think that's a crucial part of their development. It's not just seeing the film and understanding the defense and understanding the game plan. It's learning how to do those things. You don't do those things at that level in high school. So he's done that all year, as well as Pop, as well as Jackson and Ben, and I think that's kept him in the flow. I think he does a really good job of, although not getting the reps, going through the mental process as if he was going to play, and I think that makes it easy when you're getting some reps in practice, whether that be with the twos or the threes. It makes that transition a little bit easier.
I know Ali probably hasn't had the senior season he had hoped for coming back, but to see him do what he did against Duke, how encouraging was that? And is that sort of his potential on display there?
Oh, it was great. It was great. We're able to get behind the defense a couple times, and he was the primary on those. I thought he did a really nice job making guys miss down the stretch on that first touchdown. And I think it's a combination of things. I think Ali has stayed confident, has stayed humble, has continued to work. He's had some of his best weeks of practice. He's getting healthy right now. So that was certainly good to see, and certainly part of his potential level. And I was glad to see him do it. We all want to do more to be able to come up on the right side for sure.
Is there a frustration level with that? I mean, I know he was dealing with a hamstring. Maybe there's sometimes a mental hurdle to get over with something like that. But there were so many games where he didn't really even have a target to do the work in practice and then not be able to carry it over the field. Did you sense a frustration level with him at all there?
No, not at all. He shows up to work every day. I think we got a mature group that understands, yes, every game there's going to be targets in the game that are going to go, that when you game plan them, that are going to go to certain players on the field. Those are the primaries, but ultimately the defense decides where the ball goes, and then the decision maker decides where it goes after that. So I think, the beauty of that group, I think they're a mature group, and they're a group that understands, hey, I may not get it one game, but I'll get my shot, and when I do, I've got to take advantage of it.